Page 4, the Marine's Hymn. 4/4 time. There's no sharps or flats. We're using all the white keys still. We got a pickup beat again with 2/8 notes. We're coming in on beat 4. 4 and. Let's cover this one hand at a time first to make sure we got the fingering and the notes and all. We're not staying in a nice neat 5-finger position. That's pretty much going away. So here at the beginning they have what's known as an extended position. You see you have a 5-finger position where the hands are just neatly in 5 fingers. I'm going to go up here. And we have an extended. It's where we extend out or spread out. And generally it's an octave. It's letter to letter. I talked about this in the previous video. So it's like C to C or E to E or A to A, whatever. That's an octave. We spread out. That's a very common interval and position used in piano playing, and you need to get used to it. You're going to get a little off. So we extend it out from here. We extend out to the octave here. And then these two notes are covered with 2 and 3. Rather than here, we're here. I covered this in the previous video at the end of the piece. I suggested you do this to here. This is what it is. So here it's this, and we're starting in this position. We're not going to stay here, but we're starting here. It's 4 and. 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2. And I hope you understand dotted rhythms. It's so important because you're getting in this piece turned around too. Let's look at the dotted rhythm. The second full measure, the quarter note comes on 1. The dot comes on 2 because the quarter note takes a whole beat. So the dot comes on 2, and the dot gets half the value of the note, so that gets a half a count. So something else has to come on the and of 2. In this case, it's the C. You got to reach up. You're in this position. So it's 1 and 2 and. Remember, 1, that's the quarter note. 2 is the dot, and the and. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Then the next measure, the dotted rhythm, the short note comes first. It doesn't matter. Between the 2 notes is still 2 counts. So going on is, they want you to change hand positions from here to here. Coming here really is what it is. So that last 2 measures of the first line now on page 4, it's here 3 and then a 5. You want to get to where you can do this without looking at the piano eventually. So, because you're going to get it quite a bit. And then the dotted rhythm, 3 and, because the 8th note only gets half a count. So something has to come on that and, 3 and the dot makes it extend out for the rest of the measure. Here, it just works out. 3 and 4 and 1, because that is on and for a full count, and then the dot comes on the and of 4 to finish it off. As I said, between the 8th note and the quarter note, doesn't matter which comes first. The 2 together are 2 beats total. So it's just 3 and 4 and 1. You do that again. Spread out, extend it, whatever you want to call it. 5, 5. Then extend out again. And as this time, you can collapse. Now we're in a 5-finger position here for the top of page 5. So it's here. As you're playing this, you're collapsing. 1 and 2. 2 and here, then reach down, 2. Because now we're coming down here. So forth. Let's go down to the last line on page 5. You're here. 1 and 2. Now the last 2 measures. It's a 3 on the first one, then a 2. This way we're in position for all of this mess coming up. So a 2, and then an FA, and then an F, G, B, and then an E, G, and a C. So you spell out these chords if you don't know what they are. You start it with the bottom note. Figure it out, and the next note and the next note until you get them all. So again, the last 2 measures, here, it's here. Here. Left hand, okay. chords. 1 chord, 5/7 chord. This dotted rhythm is the same thing. And that quarter rest, it's like a quarter note, except you're quiet. It's still a dotted rhythm. So the half note comes on 1. It gets 2 counts. The dot comes on 3. It gets 1 count. That's half of 2. So something else comes on 4. So that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's the same thing as the other dotted rhythm. All dotted rhythms work this way. It doesn't matter what the notes are. And that's with the left hand pretty much. Well, at the top of page 5, you get a 4 chord here. But if you know your primary chords, this shouldn't be too bad, I hope. Let's go to the second line on page 5. The last 2 measures, you're here, 5/7, and then here. Except those 2 quarter notes have an AVA under them. Remember, if the AVA is below the staff, you go down. If the AVA is above the staff, you go up. So we're going to go down. So we're going to go here to this position, to this position. So it's here. Just lift up and move. It's fine. 1, 2, down here. And then you come back because the AVA goes away. You know, it's only for those 2 notes. And then you got a 4 chord again. You get the same thing at the last measure at the bottom. It's AVA. It's only the left hand, not the right, because it only applies to the staff it's near. And this is the bottom staff, so it only applies to that staff. Put the hands together. 1 and 2. And as you plan these 8th notes, make sure that you come up in the left hand. The 8th notes are by themselves. It's like these 8th note pickups all throughout there are by themselves. So make sure the left hand is quiet. So you go through and work it out together and get it all working. Let's go down to the bottom of page 5 just to make sure you got this. You're here. 1 and 2. Second finger. Here. Sort of. You work it out. Then go get rid of the hesitations. Work on the spots where you're hesitating so the beat is a steady beat. Doesn't matter how fast it goes at this point, but it needs to be a steady beat. You can always speed it up later. Once you have that, then we can add in the articulation, the phrasing and the staccatos. Here. This is all one phrase. Connect it. And then lift up. It's like taking a breath. At the end of each of these phrases, lift up in the right hand. In the left hand, you just got the chords. Connect them as best you can until the staccato notes at the end of the first line. Wrist staccato here, short. I'm on the keys and I'm bouncing off each time. I'm not up here and I'm hitting the keys. I'm on the keys and I'm bouncing off each time because I can put it back on the keys quickly. If you're going real fast, you can't. It's this, but it's not a big movement. It's a very small movement. So, but this isn't that fast. So put them on the keys before each of these staccatos. So add in the articulation. This helps too when you get to the end of the second line and last line on page 5 in the left hand because it's staccato. This helps when you're moving because you got more time to move because you don't have to hold the notes down that long. Then you add the dynamics that goes to the melody, which is the right hand. It says loud. This piece for the most part is loud throughout. Now you get to the end of the second line on page 5, you come down a little bit to my... At the end of the third line, you can go back up to loud. Now, at the bottom there, you have accents on those notes in the right hand. You're going to play them a little louder. Here, but not the left hand. Keep the left hand in the background. And there's a retardando there. You can slow down too. That's staccato here, but there's a fermato on the right hand. You hang on to that. So you're down in the left hand, yay team, but the right hand still goes until it's over. And it's over whenever it's over, I guess. I don't know, whenever. Whenever you lift up, it's over. Speed, as far as the speed goes, it's a march speed, a march tempo. Left, right, left, right. Now remember, when you're at the end of the second line on page 5 and you go down, you have a 1 beat rest, you got to come back up. So don't stay there, get back up here to the 4 chord. Rest. Be ready to go on, so don't stay there. I like to play this with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do any dynamics. I will do the phrasing, of course, and the staccatos and that kind of stuff. I can't slow down at the end, and that fermata in the right hand at the end, I'm going to hold that 6 counts instead of 3. So let's just try it together. Now I'll give us 3 counts because we come in on beat 4. 1 and ready and go and 1 and 2. Hold, 2, 3, off.